Mia stood quietly near the far corner of the wedding hall, trying to blend into the wall behind her. The golden lights shimmered across the room, catching the glitter of elegant gowns and polished shoes. Laughter echoed from every direction, clinking glasses, camera flashes, soft romantic music. Everything about the evening felt warm and celebratory. Everything except the way people looked at her. Mia smoothed her long lavender dress, wishing it made her disappear instead of stand out. She had chosen it carefully, hoping it would make her feel confident. But the whispers around her had already crushed that hope. Why would she wear something that tight? She takes up half the doorway. Is she even invited? Must be a pity invite. The words pricked her skin like tiny needles. She kept her eyes down, pretending she didn't hear, pretending she didn't care. After all, she had been used to comments like these since childhood. Being obese meant being judged before being known. Still, tonight was supposed to be different. This was her cousin Sarah's wedding. Mia had promised herself she would smile, celebrate, maybe even enjoy herself. But she hadn't expected the cruelty to be so loud. She stepped back farther into her corner, gripping her clutch to stop her hands from shaking. She had RSVP'd early, bought a nice gift, and shown up with a hopeful heart. Yet here she was, alone, invisible, and humiliated. Then suddenly, a burst of laughter erupted from a nearby table, directed straight at her. A group of guests pointed and whispered openly now, not even pretending to hide it. One of them snapped a photo of her, snickering as his friends leaned in to look. Her chest tightened painfully. She swallowed hard. Don't cry, not here, don't give them that satisfaction. She turned her face away and blinked rapidly, trying to steady her breathing, and that's when a small hand tugged at her dress. Hi. Startled, Mia looked down. A bright-eyed little girl in a pink dress stood smiling up at her. Her curly hair bounced with excitement. You look like a princess, the girl said innocently. Mia's breath hitched. No one had ever said that to her before. Before she could respond, a tall man approached, broad-shouldered, handsome, carrying the same warmth in his eyes as the girl. Lily, he said gently, are you making new friends? The little girl nodded. Daddy, she's pretty. Mia froze. For the first time that night, someone saw her differently. Ethan noticed the shock in Mia's eyes the moment Lily called her pretty. It broke his heart a little, because the look she gave him wasn't disbelief. It was the expression of someone who had gone far too long without hearing a kind word. He stepped closer, offering Mia a reassuring smile. I hope she didn't startle you. She's very friendly. Mia shook her head quickly. No, she's sweet, really. Come sit with us, Lily insisted, grabbing Mia's hand as if she had known her forever. Mia hesitated. She glanced around the hall and saw the same group of guests still staring at her, still amused by her embarrassment. She didn't want to cause a scene. She didn't want to become more of a target. I don't want to intrude, Mia whispered. You won't, Ethan said, his voice steady and sincere. No one deserves to sit alone at a celebration. Something in his tone made the tightness in her chest loosen, so Mia let Lily lead her across the room. Each step felt surreal. The whispers continued, but for the first time in the evening, they didn't feel as sharp. Lily's small hand held hers tightly, like a shield. When they reached Ethan's table, he pulled out a chair for her. No one should feel left out, he said quietly as she sat down. Mia smiled, a small but genuine one. Thank you. As the meal began, Lily talked nonstop. About her school, her favorite cartoons, her dream of becoming a ballet dancer. Mia found herself laughing softly, responding, relaxing. It felt nice. Strange, but nice. Ethan watched her gently, not in a judging way, but in a curious, thoughtful one. You have a beautiful laugh, he said at one point. Mia flushed, immediately looking down. No one's ever said that. Well, he replied calmly, they should have. For a moment she couldn't breathe. But the peace didn't last long. From across the hall, one of the earlier guests called out loudly, Hey, look, she found a babysitter. Laughter followed. Mia froze, humiliated. She tried to stand up, but Ethan stopped her with a quiet, firm voice. Don't, he said. You did nothing wrong. But they're laughing. Let them, Ethan interrupted, his jaw tightening. They don't matter. His words were simple, but the way he looked at her, protective, sincere, made her heartbeat shift. Because for the first time, Someone wasn't just being kind. Ethan didn't take his eyes off the group mocking Mia. His jaw tightened, the muscles in his neck flexing. He wasn't the type to start trouble, but he was the type to end cruelty. "Stay here," he said softly. Before Mia could protest, Ethan rose from his seat and walked straight toward the laughing group. The shift in the room was immediate. People turned, whispers grew, tension thickened. Mia held her breath, her heart pounding hard enough to shake her ribs. The men who had been laughing straightened in their chairs when Ethan approached, confusion replacing amusement. "You think humiliating someone is funny?" Ethan asked, his voice calm but edged with steel. The tallest guy smirked. "Relax, man, we're just joking." Ethan leaned in slightly. "A joke is only funny if everyone is laughing. She wasn't." Another guy scoffed. "Come on, look at her." Ethan slammed his palm onto their table, not violently, but with enough force to shut them up. "Look at her," he repeated. "She's kinder, stronger, and more beautiful than any of you will ever be. And you reduced her to a punchline." Silence fell over the table. A few nearby guests turned away, pretending not to listen, even though every ear in the room was tuned in. Ethan straightened, eyes cold. "If you can't behave like adults at a wedding, leave." No one dared reply, no one dared laugh. And for the first time that night, Mia watched as the people who had mocked her shrank into their seats. Small, ashamed, exposed. Ethan returned to the table, the tension in his shoulders easing once he saw Mia's trembling hands. "You didn't have to do that," she whispered, her eyes glossy. "Yes," he said gently, "I did, because you deserve respect." Mia looked at him, really looked at him. His sincerity, his strength, his refusal to let her be treated as less than human. It overwhelmed her. Lily climbed onto Mia's lap and hugged her. "Daddy doesn't like when people are mean," she said proudly. Mia laughed softly, hugging the child back. "He's a good man." Ethan sat down, his voice warm. "And you're a remarkable woman, Mia. I hope you see that someday." Her breath caught. No one had ever defended her so fiercely. No one had ever looked at her the way Ethan did now, like she was worth standing up for, worth noticing, worth something extraordinary. And in that moment, surrounded by music, wedding lights, and the heartbeat of a new beginning, Mia realized something.